Multi-vector integration is Kazakhstan's chosen course of development, and the program, Single Market. Building bridges of cooperation between countries, what could be more important at this moment in time when more and more barriers are being set, impeding communication between people? Hello, my name is Pavel Koktishev. You're watching Single Market. Stifled growth of the consumer goods industry, the situation in Kazakhstan. Who is calling the shots? The peculiarities of the telecommunications market. How the heavy machine building sector is pushing its way through towards export markets. Eurasian integration and the ensuing production trends. The total area of arable land on the territory of the Eurasian Economic Union is 430 million hectares. Only 295 million hectares are being used for agricultural production. This is only 67% of the available land. The remaining 33% are land resources that are still waiting to be put to use. The market unites 170 million consumers. The share of the population residing in urban areas in Belarus comprises 77%, Russia 74%, Kazakhstan 55%. On average, the concentration of consumers per square kilometer is 8.5 persons. For example, in the European Union, this indicator is 116.9 residents per square kilometer. Another feature of the Union's agricultural market is the trend towards specialization. Russia has all the chances of becoming the main producer of pork and poultry meat. Here the production of concentrated foodstuff is well established. Belarus is focused on the development of dairy production. The country has already formed its own nuclear animal stock and has agro-towns that specialize in the production of dairy products. Kazakhstan can reach leading positions on the beef and lamb meat markets. This is because of abundance of arable land resources, well-developed grain production, and a comprehensive industry-specific program of state support. Currently, the Eurasian Economic Commission's Department of Agro-Industrial Policy is studying the needs and potential of each country and developing plans concerning key priorities of the market. Among them are development of standard designs for the construction of mobile and cost-efficient production complexes, deep processing of crop farming produce, growth of early vegetables under cover, production and processing of staple products for the light and food industry. Overall, the coordinated agricultural policy is preparing ground for cooperation among the members of the Eurasian Economic Union. Integration can take place not only on the level of investments, but scientific and engineering projects as well. Therefore, one of the trends of the Eurasian economic policy is to start planting the seeds of the common agricultural market so as to reap good harvests in the future. Семена общего аграрного рынка, чтобы потом собирать хороший урожай. According to the data of Kazakhstan's Association of Light Industry Enterprises, in the year 2000, the industry's share in the country's GDP amounted to 2.3%. However, by the end of 2011, this figure dropped to 0.5%. What happened during this period? What are the future prospects? Nina Kumambetova has more on this story. According to statistics, consumers in Kazakhstan spend 20,000 tenge on average on the purchase of clothing each month. With the current dollar exchange rate, this is about $110. One of the characteristics of the clothing market is the high dependence on imports, almost 90% of all goods. The goods that we have today, they mainly come from China, Turkey, Uzbekistan, and Kyrgyzstan. The main challenge for Kazakhstan's light industry is gray import. Its share of all the goods that cross our border is 85%. In an attempt to reduce the flow of contraband, experts of the Eurasian Economic Union are proposing to introduce marking or tagging of goods across the Union's territory. What this entails is the introduction of a special radio frequency tag, which has already been tested out in Belarus. However, the National Chamber of Entrepreneurs and the Association of Light Industry Enterprises believe that the cost of implementing this idea, especially the software support component, will outweigh the benefits. This is a chain of expenses that will fall on the producer. Naturally, it will result in higher production costs, and goods will lose their competitiveness, not because of quality, but because of their prices. Aside from gray import, the development of Kazakhstan's light industry is held back by the purchasing costs of textiles and fittings. At the same time, the country has its own necessary resources, primarily cotton. In 2005, a specialized economic zone, Ontusk, was created in the south of Kazakhstan. The idea of the project is the formation of a sectoral cluster. Today, out of the 15 planned enterprises, only 7 have started their operations, and the chain of production is still lacking important links. We grow cotton and then process it into textiles. The highest added value is from the coloring of the textiles and production of the final product. These stages have the highest value added and for now are done outside of Kazakhstan. The experience of China and Turkey, from where most of the goods enter Kazakhstan's market of clothing and footwear, shows that the light industry can bring significant returns to a country's economy. In Turkey, the share of this industry is 12%, while in China, 15% of GDP. In both countries, the industry is supported by the government by means of optimal preferences. Enterprises in Kazakhstan are awaiting similar measures. Tax incentives will set more advantageous conditions for Kazakhstani entrepreneurs and assist them in getting back on their feet to compete not only on the domestic, but also international markets. This enterprise has some experience on foreign markets. In 2010, with the support of the National Export and Investment Agency, Kaznex Invest, the plant took part in the international exhibition that was held in Moscow. As a result, a contract was signed between Kazakhstani clothing manufacturers and business representatives from West Siberia. The Kazakhstani enterprise was chosen due to the distinctive qualities of its goods. Our entrepreneurs presented clothing goods that clearly distinguish themselves among Russian products. We have completely different designs. That's why it's important for the client to have a variety of designs. That's why they choose our products. This was also the case with another company from Kazakhstan, which specializes in children's clothing. By the way, this company, aside from the chain of stores in Kazakhstan, also has representative businesses in Russia. Kazakhstan has no other choice but to create unique, appealing projects that are different from everything else that we call plain clothes. All this means that Kazakhstan's light industry enterprises have potential. However, reaching this potential requires a lot of effort. That's why these cases are rare. In order for the industry overall to become efficient and competitive, it needs oxygen in the form of tax incentives. Then it will be able to breathe deeply, get stronger over time, and find its own place under the sun. With the advent of the internet and mobile communications, the map of the telecommunications market radically changed. Traditional stationary communication, the dream of most people during the Soviet times, is slowly losing its appeal. Is this really the case? Let us discuss this in the language of numbers. When speaking about markets, numbers are more descriptive and persuasive than words. Starting with our favorite, mobile communications market. In 2013, residents of Kazakhstan spent almost 300 billion tenge on mobile phone calls. However, if you look at the graph, you will note that this market's growth tempo is slowing down. For already a couple of years now, the figures have been fluctuating around the 300 billion tenge mark. And in 2014, revenues of the mobile communications market even experienced a slight decrease. There are many factors at play here, from rising competition and a general decrease in inter-operator tariffs to the rise in the popularity of mobile messenger apps, which are pushing out the use of traditional mobile operators, thereby affecting their revenues. The internal market. In 2008, it was estimated at 35 billion tenge, and by 2013, it grew fourfold, reaching almost 137 billion tenge. As a reminder, over the same period, the mobile communication market grew by only 50%. Thereby, internet access has become one of the most prominent achievements of the national telecommunications market. And now let's look at the last year's leader, the intercity and international calls market. At the moment, this market is being hard-pressed by a variety of communication providers such as Skype. What's more, mobile operators, while offering attractive tariffs, more often than not try to persuade their customers to use their services for inner-city and international connections. This is probably why this segment of the market has retained relative stability. In the last 5 years, its revenues decreased by only 25%. And finally, let's take a look at the segment of stationary telephony. Here, there is a completely paradoxical picture. The market is growing. Since 2008, during a period of 5 years, its value almost doubled. But then again, there is a reasonable explanation for this. The rise in revenues on this market is caused by the increase in tariffs. Hence, this is more the result of a factor that is external to market dynamics. And to summarize, the transformation of Kazakhstan's telecommunication market has already come full swing. Aside from the internet market, we can say with full assurance that we have reached the era of stagnation in the sphere of telecommunication. Then again, one can look at this from another perspective. It is precisely during such periods of seeming calmness that the tension in the search for innovation raises to its peak. In order to see whether this is the case, we will have to wait. As they say, time will show. My name is Alexander Galiev. Until next time on Single Market. One of the priorities of Kazakhstan's economy is machine building. Two main factors are responsible for this: well-developed ore mining and metallurgy sector and the tough realities of the market. It is becoming harder to find export markets for metals as opposed to the specialized processing sectors. Oleg Boldyrev has more on this. Almaty heavy machine building plant, hundreds of beam pumping units, rolling mills and drilling engines produced each year in a total amount of more than 3 billion tenge. During the Soviet time, the products of this enterprise were exported to 36 countries. Today, among the main importers of the Almaty heavy machine building plant are CIS countries, as well as India and Pakistan. During the industrial exhibition Metal Expo, which was held in Moscow in 2014, the Almaty plant concluded an agreement on the expansion of its exports to large Russian enterprises. Among them are well-established plants in the metallurgy industry, such as the Novolipetsk, Magnitogorsk, Ashinsk, and Severstal plants. Deliveries to Russia are already scheduled from this year. Export will be realized under the new, more advantageous conditions of the Eurasian Economic Union, of which Kazakhstan is a member. This expands the volume of the market for us, the geography of our exports. It has become easier for us to do business because there are no artificial barriers. This is a huge benefit. The prospects of expansion of the export market for the Almaty plant create an additional incentive for building up its capacities. By the way, the plant often receives proposals from its partners on the establishment of joint production of various products. However, the harsh market realities have not been as conducive to this. The most recent geopolitical events, they set their own conditions, changing people's approach, so the process has slowed down a little.
Процесс немножко затормозился.
Nevertheless, the enterprise is ready to expand its production even under the current situation. According to the general plan of the city of Almaty, the territory has been allocated for the Almaty plant within a new industrial zone that is being created. Its total area is 17 hectares. With this territory, the pioneering company of Kazakhstan Heavy Machinery is hoping to get a second wind. In the meantime, it is operating at the tempo of other Kazakhstani enterprises, with which cooperation has been established a long time ago. The plant is expecting a large purchase order in the amount of a couple $1 million from its main buyers, those working in the field of metallurgy and oil mining. This means that, as usual, all the plant facilities will be working at full capacity. Oleg Boldyrev, Nijat Yusupov, exclusively for Single Market Almaty. As a reminder, you can watch all the episodes of our show on the website www.kazakh-tv.kz. Until next time on Single Market, a territory without borders.